Good morning. Me again, Kimberly, and you're at 6:33. Wake up, and we are continuing our journey in the book of Galatians. And this is me, normal, average. Well, okay, maybe not normal, but average. Okay, maybe not average. Housewife? Yes, I am a housewife, and I am not a trained minister person. I am not this is not a theological Bible study, a doctrinal dig in. This is me sharing my 35 plus years as a believer in Jesus Christ and how he supernaturally has changed my life and how I read the word and share it with others. I believe if he can change me, he can change you. I believe that we are to be transformed to be more like Jesus. I believe that our lives are to be lived as if they were Jesus living them. Am I good at that or perfect at that? Absolutely not. Because I think as long as you and me are on this side of heaven, we will continually be transformed. It is our desire, it is our goal, it is our prize, it is our reward when we have days that we have been like Jesus and we can see the effects in other people's lives because we are. And maybe that's what we'll get talking about today. Who knows as we pick up. So I pray for you and me to have eyes to see, ears to hear, hearts to receive and react for that which He has for us today. So we're picking up at Galatians chapter 5, verse 19. And the Message Bible says this: It is obvious what kind of life develops out of trying to get your own way all the time. So, you know, are you guilty of trying to get your own way? Are you, you know, I have had many years of that and probably every day have to fight my flesh from wanting that. For instance, every day I don't want to get out of bed, but I make myself get out of bed. Every day I want to overeat, but I make myself not overeat. Every day I would like to just sit and read and journal, but I make myself do the responsibilities of life. So, what happens if I let myself have my own way? Well, here's a list of things that aren't so wonderful. It says, it's obvious what kind of life develops out of trying to get your own way all the time. Repetitive, check. Loveless, cheap sex, a stinking accumulation of mental and emotional garbage. Maybe I should read those words again. A stinking accumulation of mental and emotional garbage. Frenzied and joyless grabs for happiness. Trinket gods. Magic show religion. Paranoid loneliness. Cutthroat competition. All-consuming yet never satisfied wants. A brutal temper. An impotence to love or be loved. Divided homes and divided lives. Small-minded and lopsided pursuits. The vicious habit of depersonalizing everyone into a rival. Uncontrolled and uncontrollable addictions. Ugly parodies of community. I could go on. This isn't the first time that we've been warned, If you use your freedom in this way to get our own way, we will not inherit God's kingdom. Those are the words of Paul, not Kimberly. Now, this is the good news. But what happens when we live God's way? He brings gifts into our lives, much the same way that fruit appears in an orchard. Things like affection for others, exuberance about life, serenity. We develop a willingness to stick with things, a sense of compassion in the heart, and a conviction that a basic holiness permeates things and people. We find ourselves involved in loyal commitments, not needing to force your way in life, able to marshal and direct our energy wisely. Mm. Legalism is helpless in bringing this about. It only gets in the way. Now, if you've been around the Bible a time or two, which most of us have, we know these as fruits of the Spirit. And we know them as, I'll try. I always get them messed up, probably because I read so many versions of the Bible. But we have love, goodness, kindness, gentleness, joy. Help me, people. I can't hear you. I know there's the self control, faithfulness. I know I've missed one or two, but those are what we normally know and read in this portion of Galatians 5:22, the fruits of the Spirit. But listen again to what the Message Bible says and think about your life and if you have these in your life. So it says things like affection for others. I can check that box. Exuberance about life. When was the last time you're excited to get up and face the day? Because we should have exuberance about life. Serenity. We develop a willingness to stick with things. A sense of compassion in the heart. A conviction that a basic holiness permeates things and people. We find ourselves involved in loyal commitments, not needing to force our way in life, able to marshal and direct our energies wisely. Well, that might bring you some conviction on your life. Now, this goes on to say, among those who belong to Christ, everything connected with getting our own way and mindlessly responding to what everyone else calls necessities is killed off for good, crucified. Since this is the kind of life we have chosen, the life of the Spirit, let us make sure that we do not just hold it as an idea in our heads or a sentiment in our hearts, but that we work out its implications in every day of our lives. That means we will not compare ourselves with each other as if one of us were better and another worse. We have far more interesting things to do with our lives. Each of us is an original. I love that phrase right there. Each of us is an original. Now, I can remember one of the most changing moments of my interior life that I talked about in the last episode. The way I talk to myself, the way I think about myself, the way I love myself. One of those monument moments was when God called me on the carpet and he had me quit talking negatively about myself. He said, he designed me. I am his workmanship. How dare I speak negatively about what he created? Yes, I'm to take the cover off and display his workmanship. Yes, I'm to keep it clean. Yes, I'm to keep it in a prominent place. Yes, I'm to keep the dust off, the bugs off, but I am his workmanship, and I am to speak for its glory and its charm, its value, its worth. How do I do that? Well, by allowing the time of that interior life, that one-on-one relationship, and getting to know what he thinks about me and who he has designed me to be, how he sees me. And when I get connected with him, and in John it talks about that, you know, we are on the vine and he, Jesus, is the vine. And when we stay connected to that vine, we produce fruit. Now, I don't know about you, but I've walked around a few apple trees in my life, and I can remember the first time I heard this and I thought it was hilarious. But have you ever gone out into an apple orchard and saw the tree working so hard to produce fruit? Did you see it fixing itself? Did you see it grunting, like trying to produce an apple, like trying to have a good poop? No, we don't do that. In fact, if we trying to produce good fruit, we're probably going to end up with poop, because that is not God's design. That is not the way he's created you and me to be. He wants us to be in relationship with him, connected to that vine, so that we begin to see these things in our lives, these fruit. If your life is not fruitful, if you are not loving yourself well, something needs to be done. You need to get alone with God. You need to allow him to show you what needs to be uncovered, where you maybe need to change locations, where the dust needs blown off, brushed off, washed off. I don't know what he has planned for you, but I know that repetitively I need to do this. If not daily, I still do it many times a week, that I check for my fruit. And I don't mean that in a way as to make the fruit grow, but I am a fruit inspector, and I need to have these good fruits of the Spirit in my life. Not only do they bring me a better life, a good life, a free life, but what happens is that the fruit that my tree, my life is producing is for others to be attracted to the tree of life, to be coming to eat freely from the fruit of the Spirit so that their lives can be changed. The fruit is not just for you, it's for others. And this is the way of the Christian life, that we love others more than ourselves, that we love ourselves, right? It says, it just is. It's the way of the world of a Christian believer, that we live a life of love. So, I bless you, and I pray that today you check your fruit and that you maybe get pruned, get connected to the vine, let it grow naturally, and quit trying to fake it. Produce it yourself. Don't do that. Let it happen naturally, organically. Be part of the vine. So today, I bless you because you are an original. And I pray that you will go out and be a blessing. Bye-bye.